Okay, that was a different voice. Hi, everyone. This is Thursday, February 19th, and this is God Talk, and we're talking tonight about the Olympics. And we will start with our introductions and icebreaker, which Leo will bring, name, um, pronouns, and the answer.
Okay, you go.
Thank you, Marco.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. My name is Leo, pronouns he, him. And today's question is, what's something you used to love doing, but don't make time for it anymore? For me, it has to be rollerblading because I used to even be in a group that we would get together I think it was every Wednesday, and we would rollerblade all over Houston. We would meet at Montrose area in the Texas Art Supply parking lots, and then we would go skating. But yeah, I wish I could.
Yes.
Determine.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jared. Pronouns are all of them. And something that I used to love doing but don't make time for anymore. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't currently still love it. There's tons of stuff that I've quit over time, right? You know, as a counselor is focused on addictions, you know, like that's been a normal thing. I used to play video games a lot, you know, I used to, eat lots of dairy food, right? Until I had a dairy allergy. So, there's a lot of things. So guess I'll choose the dairy food, right? Because I really don't make any time to eat indulgent meals, anymore, like outside of, our normal meal prep schedule, that are just filled with all the things that I can't have. So yeah, that's it.
Wow. Okay, Marco.
Mo, you cook, I cook, I do.
No, I haven't thought of my answer yet.
Oh, I get good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Get you guys to cake up. Get you guys to cake up. Whoa. Wow. You take a cake of whoa, back. Look at cake, Marco to you.
Marco, he, him.
I go to get you to get back. Okay, I go to get back.
Well, you still make time to go to Vicky's, but you're just not.
Yeah, you got it. I am back to go, but got you go.
Okay.
Okay, come by here.
Yeah.
Somebody's here. Yeah.
Okay. I'm Carol, she, her, and I guess it would have to do with I don't know, something related to my OB-GYN work. I just don't take the time but I'm some of the things that I really love, like cooking and painting, I may not take as much time as I'd like to, but I'm finding time.
Whoa.
For those things, and I hope everybody finds some time for their passions.
Okay.
Okay, Suzette, it's up to you.
Okay, I'm Suzette, she, her, and man, I'm one of those overly busy people, so if I do something, it's intentional, so unfortunate. I would say I was talking to a friend today and they bought an e-bike and talking about how much they love riding the trails here in Houston. And the last time I sat on a bike, it was meow, crash because of my knee. But I think I would like to try riding a bike again. It was too soon after my surgery to do it, but I'm gonna try again. There's some really cool places out here to ride. So
Nice.
Oh God, my
I miss it.
God,
Yeah.
George, the question is what's something that you used to love doing but don't make time for anymore?
Oh God. That's a hard one.
Yeah, good guy, Ego.
Yeah. Hard.
I do a lot of stuff that I did something new though. Let me see.
What's that?
What that?
I
We'll
got a
take that
pedi
answer.
I got a pedicure.
Oh,
You've never had one before?
Oh my God, do I look like someone who would do a manicure or pedicure?
oh, the guys do it now all the time.
I know, I
Notice
heard Gary
this?
doing it all the time and he shows his little feet on, and I'm going, well, my toes are pretty darn up, but I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't like massages or anything. But I thought, well, okay, and it's getting harder to cut my toenails because I'm so chubby and I can't get down there to get my toenails cut. And they look terrible. So I have some friends and they said they have a really good, because I guess you have to be careful with who you go to. Because actually, Rhea said every time that she went and got a pedicure, she got infected. So anyway, I went to
Yeah.
theirs, and it was different, and I need to learn how to relax. But I have some really pretty toes right now, so
Hey, that's good.
When I first heard that question, I thought about dancing, but then I thought we still do our chair dancing and our
yeah.
dancing at water aerobics and all of that. But I think what I should have said was dating. I don't make time for
Oh,
dating.
Don't go down that chute.
by the
That
way,
gets
Carol,
complicated real quick, right?
Yeah.
you've been on our prayer list. How are you doing? Can I ask?
I'm doing a little better, but I might let y'all do a lot of the talking tonight because every time I talk, my cough still comes back. So I'm working it all through.
Have
So
you been
thank you
sick?
for asking. Yeah,
You been
yeah.
sick?
I've
Oh, I'm
had
sorry, I didn't
quite
know.
some issues, but this is not the prayer group, so we'll
It's
talk
okay.
about
I
that.
know. I have to ask though because I've been wanting to say something to you and I just haven't done
Thank
it.
you.
Sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate your concern. Okay, so it's Black History Month and we're talking about the Olympics and there's lots of stuff going on in the world that we could talk about, but the Olympics has some potential for at least uh, I want people to not leave here more depressed than what they came in. but we're here to support each other for the hard stuff as well as the good stuff. So this conversation could go a lot of different ways. I find the history of the Olympics pretty interesting. Just the what's that?
I was just asking if it's over because we've been watching it on reruns, a lot of it.
Yeah, maybe you found a better way to do it than I have because I just it's I I just can't find the programs I want to watch even on
Mhm.
rerun. And then if I try to rewind and see if it's in this segment, then you have to go through it 6 ads or
A
whatever
lot.
or you can
Yeah.
figure it out. It's so hard to watch. But anyway, but no, I don't think the Olympics are over and the Paralympics are coming. Yes, George.
Mm.
Yeah, but I'm thinking it's really interesting. And of course, I had to watch the gold medal contest between Canada and the USA today. I got to watch it live. But what I think is interesting is that people are getting asked to be married, straight couples and gay couples, and they're just putting it out like the captain of the ice hockey team. She asked her other half if she wanted to get married, and they're just broadcasting it like it's, which they should, but it like it's normal. And this is a big thing. The Olympics is a big thing, but it's spread across all the countries. And I find that interesting if it was just in the US, if that would go well. But since it's all the whole world, it's like, hey, everybody's accepting. I think that is unique and something different that they've never done.
That is a beautiful thing. I didn't even know that.
Oh
Suzette?
yeah.
I think personally I've noticed athletes pushing themselves past human limits and trying to wonder what the motivation is in that. I realized like the skier that tore her ACL and then went ahead and proceeded to ski without an ACL and then broke her leg right into I mean, I know that she probably trained for a very long time and she just really wanted to be in it. And I can't imagine going to the Olympics and saying, "Oh, I'm injured. I can't do this, my once in a lifetime." But then the quad skater that, kind of fell apart emotionally, because he was very young and high pressure. And I just note that, a lot of those athletes are not mentally healthy, I think. I think we're asked to push themselves beyond what is healthy sometimes. And at least are they having the opportunity for the right kind of I don't know. I don't know the dynamic behind the scenes, but I felt really bad for that young guy who was 21 who he came in eighth place because he had fallen so many times during his routines, but it just makes me really wonder. So that's all. That seems rather mechanical sometimes. Like, oh, I have to do a quadruple instead of like, is this beautiful or does this speak to me? Or, I don't know. I don't get I think it's fun to watch, but I don't always get the motivation for what's behind it. That's my
Yeah, it does seem very harsh. And yeah, Jared and Leo.
I must say that I love our Italian brothers and sisters because, as y'all may know, Trump sent ICE agents over there as protection for the athletes, but I guess that they caused some trouble and they thought that they were in the U.S. and they FAFO, and the Italian people were not having it. They were beating them. They were literally beating them, and
beating them.
Yeah.
like literally, yes,
Oh God.
handing it to them.
Yeah, because of all the anti-ICE sentiment and stuff, right?
Mhm.
And like because of all the war crimes that they be doing, like in our country,
And I
The
think
Italians were beating the ICE.
yeah,
because they sent the ICE agents down there as protection for the athletes, but these there was supposed to be security only, but they took their ICE agent uniform that said ICE, so of course,
hmm
um,
yeah, and
and,
attracted all the protesters, everybody.
and I love Italian people. All the Italian people that I've ever met, they're so down to earth.
Lady Gaga.
They're so down to earth.
Suzanne.
They just they're so loving, and I think that that's the reason why it's being broadcasted that people are getting married like that, because they're very open people. Yeah.
Mm. I almost said, "Oh, I love the halftime." I'm like, these 2 weeks have been a blur.
We talked about the halftime some last week, Suzette. We missed you, but we know we heard
Sorry.
you had a good event. So okay, George.
Yeah, I wanted to address Suzette's. Is anybody an athlete here?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Athlete. I mean, I consider myself a jock, okay, because I did softball and World Series and all that stuff and played every day. And so, and I watched the Olympics and, Simone Biles, what happened to her. And she withdrew from the competition. And this last time, you know, and it did a lot for mental health because she did it. And then she came back. But when you practice for 4 years, and at least 4 years, it's longer than that actually. But when you practice for 4 years and then get all those competitions, and then sometimes you're only on the stage for less than less than an hour or so. Yeah, it's a tremendous thing, but if you're an athlete, you know that adrenaline, that adrenaline run that you get. And so that's what they do it for. And Lindsey Vonn, she was coming back because she was older. She was 41 years old. She shouldn't even be, she retired. And she came back. And if she hadn't hooked that gate, she might have done better. You don't know these things. So if you're an athlete, you want to push yourself as far as you can. Now, whether that's positive or not, I don't know. But athletes will push themselves just like Suzette, you have a business and I see your business. I see you pushing that and you pushing the women that you love and you, that's your passion.
Yeah,
That's your passion.
kind of an
So
Olympic event.
yeah, so an athlete has their passions.
Yeah.
So
True.
that,
That's
it's
true.
yeah, and they're gonna do it beyond and beyond. That's why the rest of us aren't athletes. Because we're not gonna do that.
It's a special person.
Okay, Jared and Leo.
It made me really happy that I don't know if y'all know, but Mexico's not very big on ice skating, right? And Donovan Carrillo, he's the Mexican ice skater. I think he's the only Mexican ice skater that ever has existed in Mexico. He would practice in mall skating rings, and he has come a long way. But it was such a proud moment seeing him skate. He came in 22nd place for the men's competition, and he seemed to have had a lot of fun and was just very proud. Even though his last skating, he didn't do so great, but you could just see that he was just proud to be there. And even though he came in 22nd place, yeah, that was good.
That's a good story.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I mean, that is a huge thing to be at the Olympics at all. Yeah. And I think people forget that. Yes, George?
I'm sorry, that remind me, the Olympics, and there's very tiny small countries, and there's big countries, and Mexico wouldn't be really a winter Olympic place because they don't get snow and they don't get that kind of stuff, and they don't have those facilities down there. So you get people that can make the teams and proudly represent their country. And that's one nice thing about the Olympics is because you do have these people that has aspirations and they can if they can, they don't have the backing and the finances, but you know, sometimes they do come there and 22nd isn't bad. If he wasn't there, he wouldn't have been 22nd. I mean, to me that would be a very proud thing to represent Mexico. So it's a place where people come together and hopefully keep that crappy politics out of it. That's the bad thing. And there's older people that are winning, and there's mothers with kids. They're showing the mothers with the kids. I mean, they're showing a little bit more this year than to me they ever have. But the stories are good. So I just now the Summer Olympics I like better than the Winter Olympics, but they're good for people to come together.
Yeah, they are. And women haven't always been allowed in the Olympics in the original.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, in the original Olympics, like not the modern Olympics, but the Olympics like that started BC, they went on for like 12 centuries. And do you know why it was stopped? Because there was a Christian ruler who said no more pagan ceremonies. So anyway, but women were first admitted, I believe it was 1923. But back when in the BC Olympics, of course it was only not of course, I shouldn't say of course, but it was only freeborn male citizens that could compete. But they had a lot of events that were very similar to what we ended up with today. But anyway, did anybody see the movie? I believe it was called Race. Um, yeah, talk about that.
Are you about the one where the African American male Nazi Germany versus Nazi Germany basically, and I think it was like a team, but like there was one single African American male that was centered in the piece and stuff, and like they were competing, like Nazi Germany at the time was competing, and they were fighting against basically literally racism, right? Like and favoritism from the judges during the same Olympic events, and although the Nazi Germany team, right, was at the time, it was like Hitler was in ruler power at that time period. The team also, wasn't, even though they had their perfectionistic ideology and, like space for a culture, they did not accept cheating, right? They were not about cheating, because there was no honor in it. It was a really good movie. It was really good. And so I think that's the important part, because like, even like even the least political Olympics, right? Olympic events have always actually been political, because all of the Olympians themselves usually be using their channel to, support things like Simone Biles and mental health, and like a lot of people are, speaking out against, the genocide in Congo, and like specifically in Palestine, and all of these different spaces, right? And like it makes sense, because like there really isn't a way to make a competition like on a global level unpolitical. And so like it's really good to see a lot of the Olympians being able to recognize that, because like standing for a team, and then professing that represents a country, and professing your supremacy over another country, right, by beating them, right, it's inherently political, right, it's inherently racist, right, because you are, in a way, you're fighting for racial supremacy. Right, you're fighting for national supremacy, you're fighting for political supremacy, and so it's like it's so, but it's good that there are so many people that are able to claim their power and recognize that the importance of their voice. And there a lot you could tell with all the messaging, using their messaging to support gay rights, using their messaging to normalize like the existence of and the strength of women, and normalize even the boycotters and even the protesters, right? Like it's such a time of change and growth that is really hasn't been for such a long time.
Because even about the Ukrainian skeleton athlete, what was his name?
I think Vladislav. Yeah, Vladislav.
He was wearing a helmet with the 20 athletes that had died, that were slain in Ukraine, and he was disqualified from competing. But I'm like, what a more powerful message than to go out there and just protest, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's still remembering, his co-athletes.
Yeah.
He was disqualified because of that?
Yeah.
Because he had stickers of them on his helmet.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because that was a form of protesting.
Right. And they're not allowed to do that. But there's been historically so many forms of protests within it, offline and online. Right. Like literally within it, that it's, even though those rules exist, many people do use their voice to do the right thing.
Wow. Clearly, but he has the
I don't think that the definition is going to allow it.
Yeah, he had the pictures of the athletes.
Yeah, each one of them.
Each one was
but you can Google it and you'll see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jesse Owens was the name of the athlete in the movie Race, and that was that was based on a true story. And it was, I think the Olympics, if I remember right, they were in Germany, and it was before World War II had started.
Yeah. Yes.
And there were, I think, 2 years, or was it three, when there were when there was no Olympics because of wars, because of World War I or World War II.
I think it was two. But don't quote me.
One for each anyway. But they still count those years. Yeah. Anyway, but I thought that story of Jesse Owens was really impressive.
Very powerful.
And and then to get all those awards, and then he went to his own awards ceremony and was told he couldn't walk in the front door. That just ridiculous. But he did it. He made the inroads, and he had to kind of harness his anger to start with before he could compete. Yeah. Those are powerful stories.
Oh, good job, buddy. You hear that? He said thank you.
Hi, Christy.
She's talking to the baby. It's FaceTime with Cash for dinner. Sorry, I wasn't muted. So sorry. I'm hearing. No. I'm listening.
I was like, who is that coming? Where's that coming from?
They FaceTime every night when the baby eats dinner, and we watch him eat spaghetti and sling it on the wall, and it's good times. Sorry for the interruption.
No, it's fine.
You're good.
No problem. I'm kind of looking forward to the Paralympics. I've always really enjoyed those even more, well, in a different way, I guess, than the regular Olympics, and it's just so fascinating to me how they score things in certain ways, like swimming. It's just fantastic and beautiful.
Yes.
Another thing that's unique is that a lot of people that represent the countries don't actually look like, well, this is, don't look like they're from the countries. And a lot of people that come here to colleges and university will represent their own country. And even though they participated here in the U.S., they represent, and I think that is good, that they're not having to, just because they went to a college here, or because they can represent the country of their choice of where they were from. And I do appreciate that. And I just think it's more worldly. I that's the one thing about the Olympics, it's just not, you're over here and you're over there and you have to stay over here. And so,
aren't there some athletes that this is not their first Olympics, and they've represented one country previously, and now they're representing another one? What are the rules about what country you can?
I'm not sure, but I think they just have to say which country they're going at the beginning that they're representing. I mean, they couldn't switch midway, because you have trials, and you have to make the Olympic trials to make the Olympics. So you have to designate what you're representing.
But I think you also have to be a citizen of that country. Mexico has that rule too, to where if you want to represent Mexico, you have to be a citizen of Mexico.
Yes, and that should be.
Yeah, and dual citizens get to choose which like countries they represent, and so I guess it makes sense why Olympians they're very international with their training and their living standards, because they're actually trying to diversify the amount of teams that they qualify for.
Right. I mean, you see that happen on the basketball teams, and you see that happen on a lot of team sports where you have individuals. Oh, now they're against each other. They played with each other for 4 years, and now they're against each other. But I think that's great.
Makes me think of Ted Lasso.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, well, let's hear from a Special Olympian.
Oh, yes.
Gumby.
Yeah, you go to Special Olympics.
Yeah, I go.
Yeah. So tell us about your sport. So you just finished in October. Or November. You finished what sport?
Bowling.
Bowling.
Bowling, and you're getting ready to start what?
Like a bill.
Track and field.
Hey,
So
Yeah.
good job.
I can go. Come up with go.
So he's gonna do what's called the 50 and the 100-meter unassisted wheelchair races.
Wow. That's cool.
Which means that I think the hardest thing is going to be not just stamina, but staying. If you can't hit the edges of the lap lines at all. You can't touch those. So it's
You gotta
it's
stay in
kind
your
of
lane.
different. He did an obstacle course once before, and for some reason they said that's not available to him through our team. I don't really understand why, but I think this will be very similar because he has to stay in the lines.
Mm-hmm.
He was raised by a mama who doesn't like to color in the lines.
Why?
May I got.
Yes, would you like to talk about your Special Olympics?
Yeah.
I think everybody'd like to hear.
Well, I give a baby.
You've been doing it since you were a baby?
Yeah.
Well, not quite a baby, but yeah, you got started in it pretty young.
I got a big body. I'm very educated.
You like to try hard with the team? The team sports were a little harder, like basketball and baseball. Those were a little tougher.
I can go.
But different towns, small towns like ours have different. That most teams don't do all the different sports. Like we've never lived in a town that did the swimming competition, for example, which might be okay.
Yeah,
Josh was a good coach, yeah.
A guy could get go. Man, he could get go. I can't go. Get up and get go.
And his coach Josh became like just like family to us. He was just he's the one that traveled that some of you met when we came to Houston in 2019. Because that's when we came back to Resurrection, and Josh came with us and everything, and that was a really interesting trip, and we loved it. Josh is now working for Homeland Security.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I've been asking him. So you're not being asked to do. You're not part of ICE, are you? And he's like, no, that's not my division at all, and I'm not. But I was particularly nervous when they sent him up to Portland. But he said that's not what he was doing at all, and anyway, he's pretty closed mouth about it, but I guess you have to be.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been not just worried for his safety, but worried for his little soul that I promised his grandmother that I would watch out for.
He gotta go. I want to do him go.
Yeah, his grandmother died. We were very close to her.
We could go.
But anyway,
but
isn't it interesting how our connections weave through our lives, and sometimes you're allowed to see a kind of a glimpse from another side.
Yep, it got everybody. I go got a people here. What did you work out? What did you do this?
What is Leo doing?
Yeah.
Oh, putting my drink over here.
We drink.
It's kombucha.
Oh, you got
Nice.
it? You got it?
It's good.
Yeah,
I love it.
we love kombucha.
Good.
I'm drinking OSHA root tea.
How about I take a cook? It's good, but
Yeah, I don't know how you are able to really go in on the Olympic bowling, because usually I need like the bumpers for whenever I go, like like it's hard.
Mhm.
oh yeah. What is it? What is it?
You have any tips for him?
Mo, get that
Oh, you want to go to Suzette since she's her hand up? Then you can answer Jared's question after that.
yeah.
You're on mute.
Trying to keep the noise level down. I was just thinking about the Olympic Village accommodations, and there were they did an interview of somebody, one of the female athletes, and it's pretty Spartan. I don't know if you saw that or not, but I think they're sequestered into dormitories, and the one that I saw was a very modest twin style bed that did not look, like overly fluffy. And, it's just, there's so many things that are behind the scenes that we don't know about that are part of the ritual, or not the ritual, but the experience of being an Olympic athlete. And I think that it's supposed to, well, you're not supposed to get paid for anything, or you can't take money until it's over. I don't know how that works. Like you'd be on a Wheaties box or something after the Olympics, but I do know that it's supposed to be focused on the athlete and the actual athletic experience that they're performing. And I just wondered, from the perspective of, I don't really know a whole heck of a lot about the history of the Olympics and what modern day athletes experience as far as that goes. And, all kinds of things that are just, it's part of what makes up the athlete, but and then some of them have very supportive families there, cheering them on, and some of them have nobody. So it would be really interesting to know how that plays into the psychology of when you're performing and, having support and having your country be behind you. Because I know there's athletes there too who maybe their country supports them, but they don't give them a whole lot to be there. So maybe a plane ticket, that kind of thing, and a parka or a jersey that says your country on it.
Yeah, I
I
think
do see I do see the opportunity for athletes to also cheat. So there's lots of, behind the scenes things that we don't really hear of or think about until they come up on social media. So yeah, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to the Olympics. I don't have a whole lot. I remember studying it like when I was in fifth grade, how that in Greece, all that when they were doing it. But I think it's, the fact that our country went to, or some people went to the Olympics from our government and they were not well received. So there's a lot there that we just don't know enough to unpack it, that kind of thing, to talk about it and to say, I wish things were this way, or I know this. I just don't know enough about the Olympics to speak about it. And I'm not from another country, so, like the United States experience, I'm sure, is very, very different from any other country.
And what you said about the support, I wonder if some of the athletes that it doesn't seem like they have family there or anything. I wonder if how, how many of the families had trouble, getting in,
Yeah.
getting visas and getting what
Yes.
they needed for travel
Yeah.
and all of those kind of things. And yeah, I don't know how it is in other countries, but certainly that's a problem here. Interrupting.
And the cost, the cost of how much it
Yeah,
costs to fly over there. If you're not affluent, the chance that you can afford a ticket to Italy is probably small, from
yeah, and
Mexico.
the chance of and what you said about the pay, I think that's I think Olympians it's a different venue than pro athletes, that people who are paid for their sport.
Right.
The Olympians, but by definition, are amateur or
Don't
not
you have to
pro.
be
Yeah.
not pro for so long, like a year or two? You have to be an unpaid athlete or something like that in order to go pro. I don't know how that works because I know we had an Olympic basketball team where we had some pretty high profile basketball players on it. And I wondered, did they go without a salary for a year or two before they were able to play? So just looking at the diversity, the socioeconomic part of it, the diversity part of it, I still don't see a whole lot of people of color athletes on American teams. It's definitely heavily Caucasian.
Back and forth.
It's, just I guess depends on the sport too, but depends, I guess, on the sport. But it still doesn't feel like like a brotherhood type thing. It just feels very commercialized, is what I guess I was trying to get at. It doesn't feel like an honest contest of athletic skill. It just seems very politicized, very um, corporate corporate support undertones. So it's, I don't know. I didn't really go, oh, I really want to watch the Olympics this year. We're more like summer people too, but I don't know. I've never understood really why I was watching it, other than I guess if I was interested in a particular sport. Why it would be great to know some history on the Olympics, like the Olympians, where they come from, where they're from. I don't know if that information's available, that kind of thing. So all these questions going through my pretty little head, because I don't know enough.
Okay. All right.
Right.
I think George had your hand up next.
Yeah, it started out as amateur, but as you know, it did well. Amateur, everybody's supposed to be on the amateur level, and then baseball and basketball, people were paid, so you have pros there. But what it's not an even kill because you've got countries like China, the Asian countries, they throw those girls and boys into gymnastics when they can start walking, and they totally that's what they do. And so you're going to have an advantage over someone, and even in the U.S. there are people that could qualify, but they don't have the money in the U.S. to go to these training camps that other people do and train and get the special training. So yes, countries will, different countries go into different things. So it's really not on an even level because if every country got the opportunity that every other country, you would see something different. But it is what it is, and it brings the countries together. And I used to watch the Olympics more than I do now. I guess because seen him once, seen him twice. I don't know, but it is supposed to be more on a level, but it isn't. It's like the skating. I mean, all these things you have to have a skating. You have to go to a rink. You have to have You have to have clothes. You have to have sponsors. Everybody can't do that, and that's the unfortunate thing. So when these little countries come up or something, they have folks in there. I'm trying to applaud for them because they don't have the backing, but they do get there. And so, yeah, it's not on an even keel, but I guess it is what it is what I'm
Well,
saying.
like the Jamaican snow sled team or whatever they were. Yeah, bobsled, sorry.
Bobsled,
Bobsleds.
well, they're good on that.
It's
Bobsled.
just, that was interesting. That
And the
made the
Americans,
Olympics feel like it was something for opportunity.
yeah.
Jared and Leo.
Yes, and although I don't identify as an athlete, I was definitely raised as one, right? Because my grandpa, I guess, well, yeah, my grandpa on my father's side was a Golden Glove boxer. And so, I was trained to, with the same principles, same teaching, same, on how to fight, like a black belt in martial arts, right? And not by my choice. I did not consent to that black belt. I did not consent to it. But the tactics are always similar, right? In a lot of the sports, right, that I've seen, because before I even got the black belt stuff, I was I was put into all the other sports too, right? And all the practices from all the coaches and all the stresses and all the things was always very, very similar. And I always found, so I actually have a personal, I guess, I vendetta, right, against a lot of the things that I know happens with specifically how the Olympics are ran, specifically with how most of the organized sports people run their sports, right? Because I know firsthand how traumatic it is, right? There is overall 75% abuse, psychological abuse rates and physical abuse rates in these sports, but there is a 95% rate of people who will experience the abuse but not report it, right? Due to the lack of institutional backing, right? For the Olympics, I know the lack of pay, the lack of compensation, and the lack of support, for consistent support and guaranteed support, from the institutions that they come from, whether it is, whether it's their country or, some sort of organization, is oftentimes, it reminds me of a lot of cult upbringings. And it reminds me of, my upbringing, where a lot of the abuse, a lot of it is centered on free labor, right? It's doing stuff for free and hoping for, and then whenever you finally get the trophy, the medal, the everything, right? You're not really, you have to still network that, cachet that into I don't know, you better have another talent, right? You better be a people person, right? You got to be able to put someone's face on those Rice Krispie treats, and it's so it's so coercive, right? And it's so hard because striving for excellence in a sport shouldn't be as abusive as it is, because there are I know the skill of all those of a lot of athletic stuff, but it shouldn't be sullied by all of the manipulation tactics, all of the lack of fair compensation, right? A lot of the harm that happens to it. Simone Biles shouldn't have had to fight for mental health rights within Olympians, right? That shouldn't, we shouldn't have had to have a whole documentary on brain trauma for the NFL that that the NFL themselves tried to squash and tried to beat the allegations against. It's so much harm that I really dislike. But I still love to see all of the Olympians, and even the people within the arenas, using their voice within the confines of the systems that abuse them to stand up in whatever little ways they can. Because, it although, it is very harmful, it still does get a lot of national recognition. And it does make a difference to see ourselves represented, to see our stories represented, to see like human rights violations be criticized, and to see people literally be criticizing Trump himself when he shows up. It's great. And so I hate all the coercion, but I love to see the fight of it.
Wow, thank you for that. Well, we've covered a lot tonight. There's a whole lot of topics that the Olympics are connect us with, and so thank you all for this discussion. Who would like to close us in prayer? Since Krager's not here. Suzette, okay, that'd be great.
Holy God, thank you once again for bringing us together to speak to you and to speak about the things in the world that we don't always understand, even something as what feels like as simple as the Olympics. We want to know what's behind that, and are people being disenfranchised? Are people being marginalized? Is DEI practiced? Or just equality for athletes, socioeconomic equality, equality on so many scales. So we ask you to listen to the unanswered prayers of the athletes and for their families. And we pray that those athletes and families who are still yet to compete have what they need to have an honest and fair contest in their chosen sport. While we contemplate your world in so many ways each week, we honor you and we stay fast to the acknowledgement that this is your world, a world of love that we want to share with everyone. So, Lord, thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about this tonight and bring us safely to our pillows tonight. Let us have some relaxation and peace as we contemplate the rest of the evening. Would like to say prayers for those who aren't here tonight, Craig and Lynn, and all those people who show up from time to time. We pray that they are well. So we bring this to you. Please light our paths and hear the prayers of those in need. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you,
Thanks.
Suzette.
Yeah, that was beautiful, Suzette. Appreciate that. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Love you guys. I'm gonna go take a bath.
Oh.
Talk to you soon. See you
Yay.
soon.
Bye.